this brief tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your Kali Live USB persistent, meaning that it will remember all the things you do on it. So right now, within the basic live system, and until you configure persistence, your Kali USB will essentially forget everything you did when you turn it off. So like, for example, if you get on a Wi-Fi network and you type in your Wi-Fi password, when you reboot your USB or you turn it off and bring it back on later, everything's forgotten. It doesn't remember right now. And so we're going to teach your USB how to remember, and it's going to kind of turn it into like a hard drive so that you can store stuff on it. We can do the labs in class. You can do the things you need to, download new applications, and it will be remembered when you turn your USB off. And so to get started, the first thing I want you to do as you boot into Kali Linux is I want you to select the fourth option on the boot menu, which is Live USB Persistence, instead of that usual live system at the top. So pick Live USB Persistence. Just get into the habit of going into Live USB Persistence, just because most of our class work is going to take place in Live USB. So to start, once you're in Kali Linux, open up a terminal window, and to start, I want you to notice that you have this little blue name here, Kali, and that's your current user. And so the Kali user is a normal user, meaning you have some rights. You can use your computer, you can do things on it, but you don't have root privilege on this account. So you need to elevate your privileges in order to do what we need to do for this lab. And so there's a number of ways to do this. I think the easiest is to use the command sudo bash, which will change you now to root Kali. And so we're in a red little skull indicator, letting you know that this is a root account. Then you can pretty much do whatever you want on your computer. If you told your computer to self-destruct right now, it would essentially do so because you're in the root account. Root account is the most privileged account on your computer. It'll let you do whatever you want, and it'll give you the privileges you need to complete this lab. So we need to elevate your privileges to get into a root account. The sudo bash command, what it does is it elevates your privileges for this entire terminal window. So, if you notice, I go, say I open a new tab, you can see I'm back in Kali in this new tab. My root privileges only persist in this tab for as long as I have it open. I find it a really convenient way to elevate privileges. And we're going to be using elevated privileges for a lot of labs in this class. So you kind of just got to get used to this. So the first command we're going to run is fdisk space -L. And this is, again, the point of this is just like when you were formatting your USB outside of Linux, we want to make sure we know what our disk is. And so I'm fully expecting your computer to show you a lot of different disks. So your screen will look different than mine. Mine only shows one, and that is /dev/SDA. Yours will probably be /dev/SBA. It could be something completely different. Make sure that you recognize, your USB and you pick the right one. And so I know this is my USB. It's, the right approximate size. This is the only thing I have plugged in. So that's about the right size of my USB. So I'm pretty confident that /dev/SDA is my USB. Again, to reiterate, yours will be different. Make sure you get, what your USB disk name and path is. So, make sure you have to get this right. So make sure you know what your actual USB disk drive and path is. And then in this terminal window, we're now going to type in parted, and parted is going to launch an application called Parted, which is a really powerful tool for partitioning our drive. And so what we're going to use Parted for is to create another partition. And so first thing I want you to do within Parted is to do print devices. Print devices is kind of the same idea as fdisk-L when we were not in Parted. It just shows you what disks you have available. And so we're going to double check again, and we're going to make sure that it's our USB. And so sizing is going to be approximate. It's not going to show you your full size. You can see this one differs a little bit from up here. For the purposes of this class, it's not worth into going into why. But I can be really confident that /dev/SDA is my USB. Again, I need to reiterate, yours will be different. I'm kind of expecting yours to be /dev/SBA, but again, you can't go off what's on my screen here. You have to know what your actual USB drive is. And so once we've confirmed what our USB drive is, I want you to type in select space /dev/S, in my case SDA, And again, you have to get this right. And so now parted is pointing all the future commands /dev/SDA. Yours will be different. So to reiterate for like the 1000th time, your drive will have a different name. So make sure that you get your actual /dev/whatever correct, because we're going to be, next thing we do is going to point commands at that drive. And so we need to make another partition. So we are going to mk part, so essentially make partition. This is the primary, and we're going to do, in my case, since this is a 32 gigabyte USB drive, let's just do 2800 and then 28 GB here, hit return. And so, you will get a warning likely saying that, we can't really do this. You want to do something different. The answer is going to be a yes, because it's still acceptable. And then it's going to probably give you a warning that the resulting partition is not properly aligned for best performance. Again, just type in ignore. This command will work for you if you're using a 32 gigabyte USB drive. If you're using, say, a 64 gigabyte USB drive, just go ahead and double the values in that command. If you're using a 16 gigabyte USB drive, go ahead and have them. It'll probably work out. The key thing is to just accept whatever they give you as the option, and then if they say it's not properly formatted for performance, just go ahead and ignore it. If you want to go optimize performance, you can research how this works on your own and figure out an exact partition that would work best. For the purposes of this class, it's just not important. All right, so we are, having wrapped up parted, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open a new tab. And so if you remember, I'm now back in Kali, so I'm back in my normal user, and I need to elevate that privilege set. So we're going to do sudo bash. Again, there are lots of different ways to elevate privileges. For me right now and for this class, I think this is just the most convenient way to do it. So type in sudo bash, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and make this this sucker persistent. So the first thing we need to do is run fdisk l again to list your disk, and you should see when you first ran fdisk l for the first step, you would have seen just two partitions. So in my case, /dev/sda1 and then /sda2. There were only two partitions. And now we've added a third partition. So you can see that there is a third partition /dev/sda3. And that's what we want. We want that extra partition. So write down what your partition is. Again, it will be different, but write down your /dev/sda3. It'll probably, the number 3 will be there, but the actual path will be different. But write down your actual USB path and that extra partition, because we will need it again. And so staying in this tab, and in fact, we're not going to use the other tab again, so you can close it out if you want. But we are going to type in mkfs.xt3 or ext3 space hyphen capital L persistence, type out the word persistence, space /dev/that partition. So in my case, SDA3, type in whatever your actual path is for that. This may take a little bit of time to run. In particularly slow computers, it could take up to, I've had it take as long as 10 minutes for some students. So, just sit tight and let this do its thing. Okay. In my case, this went pretty quickly, but again, yours could take up to 10 minutes. It works successfully when you will see your command prompt, your root Kali command prompt back. And also you will see, if you were paying attention, a new, essentially what looks like a new drive off to the left labeled persistence popped up on your desktop. So the next command you're going to write is e2 label space /dev/sda3. For me, again, it's going to be different for you, space persistence, and make sure to spell everything correctly. So, make sure that you've typed this out exactly as it's shown, with the spaces. If you get it wrong, the computer is not going to tell you. It's not going to help you get it right. So you just, you're kind of on your own and making sure that you've typed this out correctly. So check it 3 times. There's no extra points for finishing this quickly. So, triple check that you had this correct, and then hit return. All right. So there's no, magic happening here to indicate that it's doing something, but, you can be pretty confident that it worked when the command prompt pops back up. And so we are going to, now, type in mkdir, so essentially make directory -p space /mnt /my_usb, return. Okay, command prompt back. Then go mount space /dev/sda3. Again, yours is going to be different. Space /mnt /my_usb. Again, just triple check that you have everything right, that you've typed it out right, and then hit return. This command, if students are going to mess something up, it's going to be this next command set. So this is echo space quotes / space union end quotes space caret space /mnt /my_usb /persistence.conf. Again, check it, make sure that you typed it everything right, hit return. And then we got the last command to write. umount space /dev/sda3. Okay, so now we need to check to make sure that this works. So we're going to go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reboot your computer. So reboot your computer. Remember whatever you need to do to get it to go back into your USB. If you have to push a separate one of the function keys, or if you've established the boot order so that it automatically boots into your USB when it's plugged in, just make sure that you boot back into your USB, because otherwise this is going to be really frustrating. And then once you get back to that boot menu, make sure you're in persistence. So arrow down to persistence and select it and go back into persistence. And then we will pick up with the next step after I've rebooted my computer. All right, so after you've logged back into Kali Linux, and remember, pick this persistence option. We want to get used to being in persistence mode when using our Kali Live USBs. I want you to save a file to your desktop. This is kind of the quickest way to check to make sure this works. And so you can see I saved a file called persistence check. And what you do here is you go up to this little Kali Dragon, and you kind of come over here to the text editor, and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter what you write. File, save as, doesn't even matter what you call it, just stick it on your desktop, right? So it can be test, again, I called mine persistence check, it doesn't matter, and you'll see that that test file is on your desktop. What should happen, if everything worked right, is that when you reboot again, so, go up here to, let's open a new tab here, and say, sudo reboot. When you reboot the computer again, hit your magic key to get you booted back into your USB, and verify that when you select persistence again and you log back into your persistence version of your USB, you're going to see this file here if everything worked, because your computer remembered what you had done even though you had rebooted. And if that worked, then you're done with the lab. If it didn't, go back in and try some of the commands again. What usually happens, and what I've done before, is that creating that initial partition. So the first part where you're in parted and you select the drive and you make the primary part, that usually goes just fine. Most students don't have an issue with that at all. What often happens is if persistence didn't work, one of the other commands where you really have to type with a lot of precision just didn't get done correctly. So go back through those commands again carefully, particularly that first command, the one that starts with mkfs. If you've already done that, like it will tell you like, hey, we already see this file system here. Like, you really want to continue. If it's telling you the file system's there, don't worry about it. Same with the E2 label command. If it's already there, your computer will prompt you and say, hey, look, like, this is already here. But we'll just run through those commands again, and it'll probably work, provided you successfully created that other partition. And again, please don't hesitate to text me if you're having any issues at all. I'm happy to help. Again, most issues with this just come from not typing commands carefully. So if you're super diligent about typing those commands really carefully, it should work just fine for you. Good luck.
This tutorial was prepared by the Center for Cybersecurity and Privacy Protection at Cleveland Marshall College of Law, Cleveland State University.